There we go. All right, so take a moment to settle into that seated position. And so you'll start first by making sure that your ankles are one right in front of the other if you're seated in a cross-legged position. If you're kneeling, just making sure that you're kind of wagging your tailbone a little bit further back behind you so that there's more of a curve, that natural curve in your lower back. Bring your hands to the tops of your thighs and just gently move your shoulders back so that they're lining up over top of your hips. And then drop your chin down to your chest, and we're just going to do a few little semicircles. It's the end of the week, so we'll make sure to release all of the tension of sitting in front of the computer if that's been your life for the past couple weeks. And then the next time that you drop your chin to your chest, bring your hands to the back of your head and interlace your fingers in a little basket. And you'll just place the center of your fingers on the back of your skull. Let your elbows drop down next to your ears. So you're not forcing your head down, but you're giving yourself just a little bit of an extra stretch here. See if you can round a little bit through your upper back and widen the space between your shoulder blades as you let your chin drop even further towards your chest. Maybe it even touches your chest. Breathe up the back of your body. So see if you can really focus your breath on that space between your shoulder blades as you inhale. Open your mouth and exhale out through your mouth. And then inhale, lean your head back into the support of your hands. Let your elbows lift way up towards the ceiling. So it's like you were laying back in a hammock. You're going to keep those elbows in tight rather than opening them out wide. And then just start to draw a little circle on the ceiling with your nose. And I want you to feel like you're really working your lower abdominal muscles. So belly button draws towards spine. And you're trying to imagine maybe that there were hands on the outsides of your pelvis hugging in towards the center. So you're creating a little bit of resistance for that circle. It should feel kind of like a little bit of a sneaky core exercise here. And then bringing it to stillness, open your elbows out wide, open the chest up again. So now you're kind of tipping the shoulder blades underneath the back of your chest and curling the chest up into a back bend. Elbows are reaching towards the sides of the room. Let your right elbow drop down towards your right hip and let your left elbow lift up towards the sky. Keep leaning the head back into the support of the hand so that you're starting to feel the stretch from the outside of your left hip all the way up to your left elbow. And then rising back to center and switching to side number 2. Left elbow drops down, right elbow lifts way up towards the sky. Keep pressing that right hip down towards the floor so you're creating a little resistance for that arch. And then bring it all the way back up to center. Hands come behind you, interlace your fingers. Reach your knuckles down towards the floor so that the collarbones are spreading. Lifting your chest up, taking your gaze up. And then exhale, release your hands all the way down to the floor. Let's transition into child's pose for a moment. So bringing those knees, hips width distance apart, dropping your sits bones back towards your heels and bringing your forehead to rest on the floor. And this one can be a child's pose with a little bit of movement. So wagging your hips side to side. We woke up the upper body a little bit. Now let's get into the lower body. Drop your chest down towards the floor. Really let your forehead rest on the mat. And if you'd like to set an intention for your practice, we're moving into the weekend, so maybe it's something that is shifting you away from a mindset that you are ready to let go of from the week. Imagine that you are letting that out through your mouth as you exhale down into the floor, into the mat. Now roll forward through your spine so that your shoulders stack over your wrists. You're coming into a tabletop pose. Crown of the head reaching forward, tailbone reaching back. Curl your toes under, take the sides of the waist towards the back of the room for downward facing dog. Heels reaching towards the floor. Belly pressing back towards your thighs. And if you feel like there's a lot of weight in your hands, see if you can press into your fingertips and your finger pads, and then lengthen the sides of your waist up and back. Tone your belly to your spine. Bend both of your knees, lift your butt way up towards the sky so there's more of a tilt forward in your pelvis. And then roll forward through your spine so that your shoulders stack over your wrists. Crown of the head reaching forward again, tailbone back. This idea of trying to create a little bit more length through your spine. That as you reach, maybe there's a little bit more space between each of your vertebrae. And then we're going to lower all the way onto the belly. If you need to, you can always bring knees to the floor for this transition. Elbows hug in and back, so they're touching the sides of your waist as you lower all the way down. Now draw your heels towards your glutes and lift your kneecaps up, move them towards the back of the mat. So you're lengthening the front of your thigh, and then you're drawing your heels back towards your butt. And then I want you to imagine that there was a string attached to the back of your head and your heels. So as you press your heels to the floor, the tops of the feet to the floor, that string is going to lift you up into cobra pose. Keep those elbows in tight. Then you're going to lower back down again, and those heels are going to come back up, squeezing towards the glutes. You're going to press forward to back like this just a few more times. Tops of the feet to the floor as you lift up. As you come down, heels press towards glutes. See if you can really activate the front of your thighs, your quadriceps. And as you lift, there's a little bit of a tone in your glutes and your core. One last time, let's lift it up, roll it up. Find your cobra pose. And then exhale, lower all the way back down to your forehead. Press your hips to your heels, child's pose. And then take the sides of the waist up and back to downward facing dog and walk your feet to meet your hands, as many steps as you want to get to the top of the mat. Bending your knees so that there's contact between your ribs and your thighs. Relaxing your forehead down towards the floor and finding your ragdoll pose, so reaching for opposite elbows. Maybe taking a little gentle sway side to side, creating that length on the sides of the waist. Take a big breath into your lower belly, and then exhale, let your spine lengthen again. Crown of the head really heavy down towards the floor, tractioning the spine. Let your hands release down to the floor. Bend those knees and start to roll up, one vertebra at a time. Keep the core working. Head and shoulders are relaxed on that right up, so that the last thing to arrive is the crown of the head on the top. Palms turn to face forward. Arms reach all the way up to frame your ears. Bring your hands to the back of your head here. Curl those elbows in towards the sides of the head. Lift the elbows way up towards the ceiling. If you want, you can even bring your legs together for this. So we're working into a little bit more of a strength through the legs to create arch for the back bend. So the legs are squeezing together. Hips are pressing forward and lifting up. And then you're lengthening the sides of the waist to curl the chest up. Let's make that little circle on the ceiling with the nose here. So I want you to feel that radiating from your belly button. If you don't feel it in your lower belly much, try to suck the belly button back towards the spine even more. Keep squeezing the legs for 3, for 2. Last one, curl open, lift up, and then open those elbows out wide. Bend your right elbow down towards your right hip. Lift your left elbow way up towards the sky. So getting that side bend on the left side, crunching out through your tricep as well. And then come all the way back to center and switch to side number 2. Left elbow lowers towards left hip. Right elbow lifts way up. Remember that we're staying closed off through the front body. So hips and ribs draw towards one another. Nice, looking good, everybody. Keep reaching up through the elbow. At the same time, you're creating that right side body stretch. Inhale, bring it all the way back up to center. Bring your hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. Reach those knuckles down. Look up towards the sky. And then find a little bend in your knees as you bring your torso forward over your legs. So you're going to bind those arms as you bring your nose down towards your knees. Start to bring the weight towards the front of your foot, so closer to the ball of the foot. Your heel's still grounded. I just want you to feel a little bit like you might topple forward. And then lift your sits bones way up towards the sky, so the bones in your butt are lifting towards the ceiling. Move those arms a little bit further up and over your head. Exhale, release those hands all the way down to the floor. Step back to your bent knee, downward facing dog, so you're creating that curve in your spine. And then again, we're rolling forward. So as the legs straighten, it's like you're rocketing forward and you're undulating one vertebra at a time until you land in high plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way down onto your belly. Heels towards glutes. Lengthen your kneecaps forward and then press the tops of the feet to the floor and come into your cobra pose. Exhale all the way back down onto your forehead. Draw your heels towards your glutes. Press the feet down and lift up. So this becomes progressive. We start to maybe be able to come up a little bit higher each time. No need to force it. We'll be visiting this pose plenty. One more time. Feet press down. Chest lifts. Gaze goes forward. Exhale, lower all the way back down to your forehead. This time, if you'd like, fire up your legs. Let's come to the top of a push-up. So pressing straight up and straight back. If not, you're taking it to child's pose. So coming to downward facing dog. This time, right leg goes sky high. Lift your right foot all the way up towards the back of the room. Curl the knee in towards your chest and step that right foot all the way through to the space between your hands. Let your back knee lower all the way down to the floor. Press down into the foot and the shin to rise up into Vinyasa pose. Hands to the back of the head here. So squeeze the inner thighs together, especially that left inner thigh, scissors toward the right inner thigh. Right big toe presses forward. Then lift those elbows up, curl into the upper chest. And again, we're gonna make that little circle with the nose on the ceiling. So visiting this vocabulary in a bunch of different orientations of the body. So you're working those lower belly muscles and those outer hips to stabilize you from falling. Then open your elbows out wide. Drop your right elbow towards your right hip. Left hip keeps pulling forward, but you're also pressing the left hip towards the side of the room. So the outer part of your left hip is kind of moving away from your body, and the frontal hip point is moving forward. Keep pressing those hips forward as you lift that left elbow up sky high. Inhale back to center, recalibrate. Left elbow drops towards the floor. Right elbow lifts up. Keep squeezing those inner thighs. I want you to work that midline strength to keep you stable. Right elbow way up towards the sky. Inhale to center, hands come behind you. Interlace your fingers, throw down your anchor so those knuckles are reaching towards your back calf. Keep driving the pelvis forward, but keep the squeeze of the inner thighs, so there should always be a little bit of resistance. And then release your hands all the way down to frame your front foot. Step the right foot all the way up and back. Roll forward through your spine to high plank pose. Option this time to take just traditional chaturanga pose. Elbows hugging in back, lower halfway down. Inhale to upward facing dog, tops of the feet to the floor, and then roll the hips back. Find downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg goes sky high. Keep that hip facing down. Curl in, roll forward, step through. Left foot comes all the way up in between the hands and the back knee lowers down. Hands come to the back of your head. So find the support first, legs are strong, then we start to find the movement. Elbows in, curl up through your chest. Keep that, but keep the tone of your belly. So you should feel your core quivering a little bit, working really, really hard to stabilize you as you draw that tiny little circle on the ceiling with your nose. Still breathing. Neck and shoulders relaxed. Inhale, one more big breath in, curl up and open then open your elbows out wide. Drop your left elbow towards the left side of the mat. Keep that right hip pulling forward, so the frontal hip point pulls forward. The outside of your glute is kind of pressing away from you to create that arch on your right side body. You might even challenge your balance a little bit by changing where your gazing point is, so look up towards that right elbow. Inhale, back to center, take a moment, no rush. Know it feels a little wobbly. And then drop right elbow towards the mat. Press your left hip out to the side as that left elbow lifts up. Keep scissoring that right hip forward. Inhale, back to center. Keep pressing those hips forward, so we're opening especially that back psoas. Hands come behind you, interlace your fingers, reach your knuckles down. So maybe you're getting a little closer to touching the back of the thigh, or getting closer to touching that back calf, and then curl the chest open, look up. Release your hands all the way down to frame your front foot. Step back to your downward facing dog. Option to stay there or roll forward through your spine, coming into your high plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, hips back. Downward facing dog. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Look forward to the top of the mat. Step walk or jump the feet to meet the hands. Come into your half lifts. Exhale, release the belly to the thighs, find your forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep all the way out and up. Bring your palms to press above your head. And exhale, hands to heart center. Reach those arms up again. So we're gonna add to it this time. Interlace all but your forefinger, cross your thumbs. Move your arm bones back, squeeze the legs together. Front of your hips lifts. We're gonna take it into side bend, so Ardha Chandrasana. You're gonna take both arms over towards the right. Try to keep both of your elbows hugging and squeezing the sides of your face. Take your gaze underneath of your left armpit and then arc up and over, up and over. It should intensify the stretch that we were already feeling before. So reaching out through that left hip. Remember, the front body is closed off so that you're really using your outer abs, your lower belly. Inhale, back to center, second side. Press out through that right hip. Left arm reaches up, the right arm reaches up and over to the left. Remember that you can take your gaze underneath of that right armpit. And there's a little bit of pulling your right shoulder back in space. So we're creating what's called an S curve in the spine. Hips are parallel to the space in front of you. Activate your legs, breathing for 3. Breathing for 2.
On one, inhale back to center. Let's take it into a back bend. So you can keep the arms like they are, or if it's more comfortable for you, coming into a cactus shape. Hips lift forward and up. Elbows tilt forward and up, and then curl open through your chest. Start to take your gaze back. Remember, legs are working, glutes are working, belly is working. Inhale, arms reach back up again. Exhale, fold all the way back down to the floor. Inhale to your half lifts. Exhale, plant your palms. Step or jump back to your bent knee down dog. So you're jumping back to bent knees. Land it light. Roll it forward through your spine, high plank. We're gonna take it down really, really slowly this time. So really challenge yourself. We're gonna go down on a count of 7, 6, 5, chest forward, gaze forward, 3, 2, and 1. You're all the way down on the floor. Nice job, everybody. Heels towards your glutes. Press the feet to the floor, curl up. So we're gonna use a little bit more momentum now that the body is warm. You're gonna rock forward to back. So feet down, chest lifts. Feet towards glutes, chest to the floor. 3 more times. Feel the rock. See if you can lift up a little bit more. Last one. Curl open. Exhale all the way back down to your forehead. Child's pose or top of a push-up. Breath in to prepare. Exhale to transition. Take those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg goes up and back. Exhale, step that right foot all the way through and let your back knee come down to the floor. Inhale, arms all the way up for a traditional Vinyasa pose. Arm bones are working back, elbows are hugging in. Pointer fingers are reaching up. Scissor those inner thighs towards one another as you curl open through your chest. So I want you to work the legs a lot before the back bend. The leg action becomes more important than how much you open up. Keep using your breath. Inhale, one more big breath in to open. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, back to center. You're gonna let your right fingertips drop down towards the floor. Now they may not touch the mat, doesn't matter if they do or not, but you're letting them dangle down towards the floor. And then that left arm is coming up and over. Keep left hip scissoring forward, right big toe pressing forward. Big side body stretch here. Inhale, back to center. Switch it out, second side. Left fingertips drop down. Remember, you're driving the hips forward, right arm reaches up and over. So we feel the different ways that the body has to calibrate. Make sure that right knee stays tracking over those right toes. Maybe those left fingertips come all the way down to the floor. Inhale, reach it all the way back up to center. Exhale, hands lower down to frame your front foot. Step back to downward dog. Undulate forward through the spine, high plank. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog or cobra. If you want to add a few push-ups, you can. And then roll those hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg goes sky high. Exhale, step it through, Vinyasa, back knee down. Traditional variation of the pose, those arms go up. And you're working to make sure that they're not out in front of you. So we're starting to challenge the range of motion in the joints of the shoulders. We're not forcing it, but then once you've got that shape, lift up through the pointer finger, drag the pelvis forward. We want to find the frontal hip points, pull them up, and then start to curl open through your chest. This shouldn't be a big back bend for your lower back, so if you feel like you're doing all the work in your lower back, tighten your core a little bit more. Breathing for 3, fill it up. Breathing for 2. Last big inhale. Stay for the exhale. Rise all the way back up. Left fingertips drop down towards the floor. They may touch the mat, they may not. Right arm bone reaches up and over. Feeling that stretch all the way up the right side of the body. It intensifies where we feel it. We want to keep working those legs, so don't let those legs go loosey-goosey. Inhale all the way back to center. See if you can keep your balance. Right fingertips drop to the floor. Press out through your left hip. Keep scissoring that right inner thigh forward as that left arm reaches up and over. Press the left big toe towards the space in front of you like you could rip the mat with the foot. Inhale, reach it all the way back up to center. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back, vinyasa or not, your option. We're gonna meet in downward facing dog. Any variation of that speaks to you. Nice work. All right, looking forward to the top of the mat. Step walk or jump those feet to meet the hands. Find your half lift. And exhale, release to your forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way to stand. Sweep those arms all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms reach up. Interlace your fingers, arm bones move back. We add, step your right foot off the mat, over to the left edge. So there's a tendency here for that right hip to pull back. I want you to work to keep the hips parallel and forward. It's not a big step back. You're high on the ball of that back foot. Press out through your left hip. Reach your arms up and over. So moving those arm bones back. We're gonna work those legs a lot here. So I want you to be feeling a little bit of shaking. That's how hard you're working the scissoring action of those inner thighs towards one another. Inhale, back to center. Step the feet together, find Utkatasana pose in between. Drive the pelvis low and back. Move your arm bones back, look forward. Rise to stand, second side. Step your left foot off the mat. You're high on the ball of the foot. Scissor that left hip forward to the best that you can. Squeeze the inner thighs and take that side bend over to the left. So right hip is pulling back. Belly strong, big, big, big stretch. Remember, this is progressive, so you're working to make it a little bit more intense with each breath. Inhale, back to center. Step to Utkatasana pose. Feet together, get low, 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 low with that pelvis. Arm bones move up, hands to the back of your head. Elbows lift up towards the sky. See if you can draw that little circle on the ceiling with your nose, but keep your belly really, really strong. Find that resistance. The action doesn't really do much if we stay loosey-goosey in the lower body. One more big breath in, curl the chest open, look up, elbows high. Exhale, release the hands all the way down to the floor, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant those palms, step or jump it back. Roll it forward, high plank. Lower all the way onto your belly. Hips towards heels. This time, reach back for the tops of your feet with your hands. Make sure that your knees stay parallel to one another. Drive your heels back to let your chest lift your thighs. And then lower heels towards glutes, forehead to the mat. So this time, we're gonna find the movement with it. See if you can use the momentum to really inflate and lift. Press the heels back, lift the thighs, lift the chest, and exhale, lower all the way back down again. Press your hip bones down, squeeze your glutes, lift it up, and lower it back down. This one, come up as high as you can, and we're gonna hold it. The pose, not the breath. So lifting up, drive those heels up towards the sky, widening through your collarbones, lift your feet, breathing for 3, for 2, lift a little higher, last big inhale. Exhale, release all the way back down. Hands next to your shoulders, either press to child's pose or the tap of a push-up. And take those hips back, find downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg goes up towards the sky. Right knee bends this time, let your hip open towards the ceiling. So lift that elbow, or rather that knee, way up towards the sky, but pull your left hip crease back. Still imagine your inner thighs kind of scissoring and that closing off through the front of your body, so hips lifting towards your ribs. And then circle that right knee forward a few times. And then take that right leg straight back behind you. Curl the knee in towards your nose, roll forward, step that right foot all the way up in between your hands. Inhale to a high lunge pose this time. So arms reach all the way up. Front knee bent to 90 degrees, inner thighs scissoring towards one another, and there's a slight inner rotation of your thighs, which is gonna widen the back of your pelvis. Maybe starting to take the gaze all the way up. All right, let your right hand drop next to your right hip. Let your left arm press up and over your ear. Maybe bending a little deeper into that front knee. Right hand is dangling down towards the mat, almost like you were holding onto a suitcase and it was heavy, so it was pulling your right hand towards the floor as that left arm reaches up and over. Inhale, opposite way. Left hand down, right arm reaches up and over. Yes. Take those arms all the way back up again. Interlace the fingers behind the head, lift the elbows up. Now spin your back foot out. We're gonna find warrior 2 legs. So back foot is anchored at kind of close to a 90-degree angle. Front knee is bent. Take your elbows out wide like we were earlier. And you're gonna start to drop that right elbow towards your right knee. And it may not come to touch. You're gonna keep the hands at the back of your head for this one. So try to pull your right hip back, lengthen the right side outside of your waist as you're dropping that elbow down. So really working the core a lot here. You should feel your belly on the outside, especially your oblique muscles working. Lift it all the way back up through center. Drop your left elbow back and the right elbow up. Keep bending into your front knee. Nice work. Bring it back to center. Slide your right hand in between your shoulder blades and circle the left hand around to see if you can bind. If you can't bind, don't worry about it. Right hand can stay on your right elbow. Now straighten your front leg and pivot your toes. I'll turn so you guys can actually see me. You can probably hear me better this way. So right hand is in between your shoulders. Left hand comes behind the back. The hands are clasped and you're in a wide-legged stance with both sets of toes facing the long edge of your mat. So Tammy, you're gonna turn, yes, yes, yes. You're in like a Prasarita Padottanasana stance. Let your right elbow lift way up towards the sky. And then exhale, inner thighs, turn in and back. Keep your spine long as you fold forward until eventually you're gonna plant that right palm directly underneath of your face. Keep your pelvis level. Sometimes it can help to have a hand on the back of the pelvis to notice if one side of the pelvis is lifting up more than the other. You're gonna see if you can level that off. So that when you start to twist, the twist isn't happening in the pelvis. It's happening in your belly and your chest. And then your left arm is going to sweep all the way up towards the sky. Keep turning, 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 opening. And then exhale, thread the needle. Take your left arm underneath of your right arm. Reach for the opposite leg. So left hand comes underneath of your right arm and it catches the outside of your opposite leg. Now tiptoe your right fingertips a little bit further in front of you so that you can actually look underneath of your right armpit. Pull with your left elbow, so you're kind of bending that left elbow in and looking underneath of your right arm. If you want even more of that side bend that we've been working with, walk your right hand all the way over towards the left edge of the mat. Remember, you're trying to keep your pelvis level, so we don't have to go for the biggest twist ever. We're looking to keep stability in the pelvis and the core. And then release those hands all the way down. You're gonna pivot to face forward in a lunge. So turning yourself in the direction of your right foot. Take your right leg all the way up and back. Roll forward through your spine so that your shoulders stack over your wrists, and you're gonna keep your right foot lifted this time as you move through your vinyasa. If you'd like, you always have the option of bringing that right foot down, or you can do it with right leg lifted and left knee down. Lower halfway or all the way. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Hips back, downward dog. Side number 2. I don't want to confuse you guys, so I'm going to face back the direction I was in. Left leg goes up and back. Exhale, left foot comes all the way through to the top of the mat. Press down to rise up. Arms sweep up to frame your ears. Deepen the bend in the front knee, maybe interlace all but your forefinger, cross your thumbs. Remember, strong pull of that right hip forward as you curl open and up. Inhale all the way back up again. Let the left hand drop next to your left hip. Right arm reaches up and over. So you're letting that left hand heavily reach down towards the floor as you lengthen that right side body. Strong through your back leg. Inhale, arms back up again, switch sides. Right hand drops down, left arm presses up and over. A little bit of a squeeze of that left hip in towards midline as you reach. Inhale, arms back up again, hands to the back of your head. Lift up through your elbows. And then spin your back foot out so you're coming into warrior 2. Open the elbows out wide. Drop the left elbow down towards your left knee. Touching the knee isn't the object here. I want you to pull your left hip crease back so that left side body gets really long. And you're creating that side body stretch, but you're also really working those obliques. I want you to feel those outer abs working to support. Anchor into the back foot. Press the front big toe forward, bringing that left elbow down. Inhale, lift all the way back up again. Lean the right elbow back, left elbow up. Big side body stretch. Bring it back to center. Left hand comes in between your shoulders. You can use your right hand to press that elbow down. And then circle that right hand behind the back. If you're close to binding and you have a shirt or something to hold on nearby, go for it. If not, don't worry about it. You can keep the right hand on the top elbow. Now straighten your front leg and pivot your toes so that you're facing the long edge of your mat. You're in preparation for that wide-legged forward fold. Lift the left elbow way up towards the sky, and then exhale, fold forward. Weight starts to come slightly more towards the front of the foot. Tailbone tips way up towards the sky. Now release the left hand down directly underneath of the face. Straighten your left arm. Reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. But remember, you're leveling the pelvis. So as you turn, if that left hip tries to go with you, try to pull it back. So we're really working the core. We're not cheating ourselves by letting the pelvis do the action of moving. Open the chest. Use each exhale to turn a little bit more. Thread the needle. Take your right arm underneath of your left arm. Catch the outside of the opposite leg. So right arm comes underneath, catches left leg. Left arm works forward, and then you might even tiptoe it over towards the opposite edge of the mat. So you can really look underneath of your armpit. Pull your hips back, and then bend your right elbow to add a little bit of a twist. Remember, again, we don't want the pelvis to move. We want it to be through the core and the upper part of the back that we're getting this twist. Release both hands all the way down to the floor and pivot yourself to a lunge facing forward. Both hands framing your left foot. Take your left leg all the way up and back. Bend your left knee, open your left hip, and circle that left knee forward. I skipped this at the beginning, so we'll do it now. Now take that left leg straight back behind you. Roll forward through your spine to high plank pose. Option to keep that left leg lifted as you move through your vinyasa. Nice work. Take it to downward facing dog. Big breath in. And big breath out. Press your heels down. Look forward to the top of the mat. Step, walk, or jump the feet wide this time so you're landing in your yogic squat. Toes turn out, hips drop low, hands come to heart center. Place your left fingertips on the floor and extend your right arm up towards the sky. So pressing that left shoulder into your left thigh as you reach up through your right arm. Option to stay here or to take a half or full bind. If you can bring your hands to the outside of that left hip. Remember that you don't want to be leaning forward. You want to rise up tall and then add a little bit of a twist. Unwind back to center, hands to the heart. Press those elbows into the knees. Rise up nice and tall through the crown of the head. Let's take it to side number 2. Right hand to the floor, right shoulder presses into right thigh, left arm reaches up towards the sky. And you're adding that twist so that arm is going back. Maybe it's reaching for your opposite hip. Maybe the hands are clasping on the outside of the leg. And then release your hands all the way down to the floor for your Bakasana, your crow pose. So elbows are bending back to create a shelf. And you're climbing your knees either onto the backs of your triceps or to the outsides of the arms, starting to bear weight forward towards fingertips and finger pads. Press the floor away and round through your upper back, like you were in a child's pose where your knees were together, like you're in a turtle shell. And then lift your feet one at a time, drawing heels towards glutes. Squeeze the legs. Breathing for 5. Breathing for 4. 3. 2. On one, either step or jump the feet back. Take yourself through Vinyasa or take it to your child's pose. That's where we're going to meet for just a few breaths. So letting your forehead come to rest on the floor. Flipping the palms to face up towards the ceiling. Maybe grabbing a drink of water if you need it. Breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more time, big inhale.
And completely exhale. All right, looking forward, you're gonna come back to your downward facing dog and you're gonna make your way to the top of the mat in a forward fold. So you can hop, step, jump, any way that you wanna get there. Find your half lift, and exhale, release. Find chair pose, Utkatasana, sink those hips low and back. Reach those arms up, maybe interlace all but your forefinger, cross your thumbs, get low. Chest forward, gaze forward. Rise all the way to stand, find the back bend. Inhale it all the way back up again. Keep your arms where they are. Step your left foot over to the right edge of the mat. Lean away from where your leg just went. So arms are leaning over towards the left. Inhale back to center. Draw that knee in towards your chest this time. Find the twist. Right hand catches the outside of your left knee. Left arm goes behind you. Or catch the outside of your left foot with your right hand and straighten the leg out in front of you. Try to pull your right hip crease back as you turn from your belly and your chest. Lift up nice and tall. Side body gets long. Maybe take your gaze back over that extended hand, that extended shoulder. Come back to center. Hug your left knee in towards your chest. Step to Utkatasana pose. Hips low and back. Maybe interlacing those fingers again. Get a little lower. Lift your chest, lift your gaze. Rise to stand. Keep the arms like they are. Add the back bend. Arms lift back up again. Right foot steps to the left edge of the mat. Let your arms lean away from your legs. Keep scissoring those inner thighs together as you find the arch. Inhale, lift up. Draw that right knee in towards your chest. Find the twist. Left hand to the outside of your right knee. Right arm behind, or maybe you're catching your foot and extending it to straight. Try to make sure that that foot stays level with your hip. Press down to rise up, and then turn. Start to take your gaze back and back and back. Don't worry if you lose your balance, just start again. Remember that that left hip is going to want to wander forward. Pull it back so that the twist is happening through your core. Draw the knee back into your chest, back to center, arms up. Exhale, Utkatasana pose. Hips sink low and back. Hands come behind you, interlace your fingers. Reach the knuckles down, lift the chest. Lower your belly onto your thighs. Straighten the legs and move those arms up and over your head. The warmer the body gets, the further you might be able to go. And further doesn't always mean better. You're finding the spot where you feel challenged, able to breathe, no pain. Release your hands all the way down to the floor. Second try at Bakasana if you'd like. Elbows bend back. Climb those knees onto your arms. Look forward and lift your feet. So if you wanted to practice the transition back, it's an exhale, and as you shoot your feet back, you're bending your elbows, so you're landing at the bottom of Chaturanga. We're gonna lower all the way onto our bellies. Yes, Joe, that was beautiful. Come all the way down. All right, let's add that back bend again. Heels towards glutes. Reach back with the hands, catch the tops of your feet. Kick the feet away, lift the chest. Lift those thighs a little bit more, curl the heart forward and up. Keep squeezing the legs in towards the center like you were holding a block between your thighs. Lift a little bit higher. Release, forehead down to the floor, hands next to your shoulders. Press to the top of a push-up. Press it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts up. Right knee bends, right hip opens. Option to take it all the way over, find a wild thing. So right foot lands on the left edge of the mat, hips flip, and you're gonna wrap the shoulder blades together as you reach your right arm up. Try to curl the shoulder blades underneath of the chest. Lift, lift, lift. Bring it back around again, right hand to the floor, right leg goes sky high. Exhale, step that right foot all the way through.
Inhale, high lunge, arms reach up. Interlace the forefingers at the back bend. Right hand next to right hip. Reach it up and over. Bring it back to center, switch it out, second side. We make it flow this time. Inhale, both arms up. Hands to the back of the head. Lift those elbows way up towards the sky. Spin the back foot out, come to warrior two. Elbows open wide. Bring your right elbow towards your right knee. Pull your right hip crease back. Inhale, back to center. Take the revolve. Left elbow drops back, right elbow lifts up. Straighten your front leg. Pivot your toes so that you're facing the long edge of your mat. Right hand comes behind you. So right hand is in between the shoulders, left hand behind the back. Hands clasp. Lift up nice and tall. And then exhale, fold forward. Plant your right hand directly underneath of your face. Extend the left arm up. Thread the needle. Left arm comes underneath of your right arm. Catch the outer edge of your calf, ankle, or foot. Walk your right hand forward. Maybe walk your right fingertips all the way over towards that left edge of the mat. Spiral your gaze underneath of your right armpit. Release both hands down, pivot to face forward. So coming to a lunge at the top of the mat. Let your back knee lower all the way down to the floor this time. Plant your left palm and turn your right toes in the direction of the right corner of the mat. Use your right hand to press your right knee away from you. So you're rocking onto the blade edge of that right foot. And then extend that right arm all the way up and over. So getting that nice, juicy side body stretch. Release both hands all the way down to the floor. Bring your forearms to the mat now. Keep moving that right knee kind of in and out gently. Opening that right hip a little bit more. And then bring both of your hands onto the mat and slide your back leg in. So you're gonna sit yourself down. So right foot stays out in front of you, left foot is kind of in what looks like a half Sukhasana or easy pose. Now cradle the outside of that right foot with your hands. Press that right knee back in space. So it's like you're doing a seated version of Happy Baby. And the further you can bring that knee back, no, I won't say the better, but that's the action. You're trying to press the knee back behind you. But you're keeping your chest up, weight kind of leaning forward towards the front of your pelvis rather than towards the back. And then you're gonna kind of cradle the leg a little bit. So we're playing with the action of working to open that right hip a little bit more. So you might even bring your hands underneath of your right calf, or you might cradle that right leg like a baby. And then you can kind of lift and lower your foot up and down and lean forward and back to explore all of the different ways that that hip might open. Nice. So option one is staying here, just continuing with the stretch. Option two, you might be working to bring that right knee behind your right shoulder. So bring your right pointer finger and thumb to the back of the ankle, and you're gonna press the knee back. So the further you bring it back, the easier it's gonna be to bring it up, like you're putting on a backpack. Move it back and bring it up. So maybe eventually you've got it all the way, yes, you guys are doing great. Maybe it's all the way on the top of that leg. If you've got that, you're gonna reach around the top of the foot with the opposite hand. So left hand reaches around the top of the foot, catches it, right hand comes to the floor, and you might kick the leg into the hand to straighten. So the side body should be nice and open. We didn't do a lot of hip opening today, so that hip might be a little less agreeable. Nice, looking good. All right, go ahead and release and extend that right leg straight out in front of you. Inhale, arms reach up to frame your ears. Exhale, side body lengthens, reach for the outer edges of your right calf, ankle, or foot. Whatever you're reaching for, think active still. So kind of lift your chest up, move your belly button forward, and see if you can lower it so that your chest keeps coming closer and closer to the kneecap. Both shoulders parallel over that leg.
Inhale to lift all the way back up again. Take your right leg out to the side. So right leg comes out into more of a V shape. And you can either keep your left foot where it is, or I'll show you a version of gate pose that I really like. You're gonna tuck the left foot back. Remember, not at the expense of the knee, but you're in this kind of V stance with your left foot tucked back. So if you're in this variation, what you're gonna do is actually lift yourself up and you're gonna slide opposite hand underneath of your body so that you're catching your opposite heel. I'll show you the other variation. So if you're not in this shape, don't worry about it. You don't have to come there. You're working to duck that right shoulder to the inside of that right thigh, and then the left arm is reaching up and over, and maybe you're catching the outside of that opposite foot. Gaze going underneath of your armpit. I love this pose. If not, left foot is on the inside of left thigh, right forearm comes to the inside of the right leg, and the left arm lifts up and over. Either variation is fine. Nice. All right, let's lift all the way back up again. Plant your left hand behind your left hip, and then press down to lift up. Stargazer pose. Nice, bring your butt all the way back down to the floor, cross your ankles, and we're gonna step back to downward dog. If you wanted to take a vinyasa along the way, you can. We're gonna meet for our last standing side. Inhale, left leg goes up. Exhale, left foot steps through, high lunge. Arms reach all the way up to frame the ears. Strong with those inner thighs, grounded through those feet. Left hand releases next to left hip. Right arm reaches up and over. Inhale back to center. Exhale to switch. Find that side body stretch. Inhale, arms up. Hands behind the head. Lift the elbows, look up. Exhale, open to warrior two, elbows open out wide. Drop the left elbow down towards that left thigh. Left hip pulls back, left side body lengthens. Big arch through that right side body. Inhale back to center, right elbow drops back, left elbow lifts up. Inhale to center, straighten the front leg, pivot the toes in. Left hand comes in between your shoulder blades. So you're working towards that bind. Maybe the hands clasp behind the back. Take a big breath in, rise up tall. Exhale, fold forward. Once you come all the way down, left hand plants underneath of the face. Right arm reaches up. Thread the needle. Right arm comes underneath of left arm. Catch the outer edge of the calf, ankle, or foot. Take your gaze underneath of that armpit. And then release, pivot to face forward in your lunge. Bring both hands to the inside of your front foot and bring your back knee all the way down to the floor. Flare to the outer edge of your left foot. Use your left hand to press your left knee away. And then reach your left arm up and over, stretching out through that left side body. And you can keep that flare so you're on the outer edge of that foot as you bring your forearms down now. Keep that left foot active. So we don't want to let the pinky edge of the foot sickle here. And then you're going to rock a little bit in and out. Come up onto both of your hands and slide your right foot in and underneath of you. So you're sitting yourself down. Left foot stays where it is. Nice. And then you're going to come into that half happy baby. So you're cradling that foot back, working to press it back towards your armpit. Maybe it's even kind of cradled into the armpit. You can even use both of your hands if you want a little more oomph. And then working to bring it into your cradling shape. Remember, it doesn't matter what way you're holding it. I just want you to make sure that you're lifted upright. Y'all look great. You might rock a little bit forward and back. And again, staying put and doing this stretch, holding on for this one for longer is a great way to go. So if the knee doesn't come over your shoulder, don't force it. You can stay put here. Or you're reaching the left pointer finger and thumb to the back of your ankle. You're moving the knee back and up. Remember, one side might be a little more capable than the other. And then reach around the top of the foot to clasp the pinky edge. Left hand comes down, Left leg straightens into the hands. And then release that foot and extend your left leg out in front of you. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lengthen forward for your Janu Shirshasana. Asymmetrical forward fold. Let's rise all the way back up through center. Open that left leg out to the left. Left foot can stay where it is, or you can come into that gate pose variation. That right foot tucks back towards your right hip. It's almost like coming into hero pose, but instead of the knee being out in front of you, you're bringing it out to the side. If you're taking the variation with the foot to the side, you're lifting yourself up enough that your opposite hand can slide underneath of you. You have to lift your butt up to be able to reach for your opposite heel. So hips lift, underneath, and then you're ducking that left shoulder to the inside of the left thigh, and the right arm reaches up and over. If you don't have the foot tucked, then you're just taking left forearm to the inside of the thigh, and that right arm is reaching up and over. Pull that right shoulder back, make it a little twisty as you reach. And then release that foot if you have it. Plant your right hand behind you. Stargazer pose, hips lift. And bring it all the way down. Take both legs out in front of you. Straighten your legs, and we're going to lower down onto the back. So taking your time, you're going to keep those legs out in front of you, and you're rolling down your spine. Try to find an active flex in your feet. And eventually you're bringing your whole back all the way down onto the floor. So I'm going to give you the option. We have about 2 minutes left for one last posture. So you can either play with some kind of inversion. If you're feeling feisty and you want to gear up your weekend, then maybe that's the way to go. And I am here. I will watch you guys. If anybody has a inversion that they're working on and they want my assistance, I'm here to give you guidance. Otherwise, you might stick with ending with a twist. So maybe drawing knees in towards your chest and letting the legs drop over to the right first and then over to the left. Really nice, Jenny. Nice. So can I give you one recommendation that'll help you come up more smoothly? Before you kick your legs up, and I'm looking at Jenny right now. I'll look at you in 1 second, Tammy. Jenny, what I see is happening is that you, when you're going up, you're not walking your feet far enough forward. So you're not walking your feet close enough to your chest, if that makes sense. And so what's happening is you have to hop a lot more. So I'll show you what it looks like. Right now, your hips are back here instead of them being here. So that means that in order to get your hips over your shoulders, you have to like really wing your legs up a lot more, if that makes sense. So if you walk your feet in a little bit more, you'll probably get closer to just lifting a leg and then being able to bring the other leg to it. Yeah, but it looks good otherwise. Tammy, can you turn sideways? That'll help me see a little bit better. That was better, Jenny. Nice, Tammy. Yes. So, yes. I think it's a fear factor going on with you. So one other thing that'll help, once you've got that leg up, I think you already are doing this, but reach up through those toes. And then instead of, when you start to lift that other knee, so I want you to squeeze. You notice the difference? It's like, even though you're lifting the leg up, you're still keeping it as close to your chest as possible. So you're really working your core at the same time while you're going up. But trust yourself, you've got this. Heels towards glutes is going to help a lot. So the heel that you still have at the knee bent with, squeeze in. Is good. You're getting there. All right, whatever you're working on, if you want taking maybe one more try at it, move your foot back towards the wall, Tammy, too. That's the other thing. So when you get that leg up, I know it feels scary, but lift that heel Move it towards the wall where the sofa is a little more. All right, let's move towards Shavasana. So if there's anything else that you need to do before you come down onto your back, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, just go ahead and lay down onto your back. And if you need to keep moving, like I totally understand that you guys, you're at home, make this practice what you want. So if you prefer not taking Shavasana and there's a few more things that you need to do, feel free to do it. Otherwise, it's always nice to end with this integrating. Believe it or not, the stillness helps our body to kind of soak up all of the things that we learn so that it doesn't just go out the window. And this is also that chance to reiterate what your intention may have been for your practice today. And we were talking about the idea of kind of setting aside the rest of the week. So this is one last opportunity to shed a layer. You might even imagine the heat of your practice was like a steaming off of the junk, the stuff that it was time to let go of. Give special attention to your exhale, that with each exhale, you're relinquishing some pattern of holding or tension, whether it's physical or mental. We're unclenching the knots. Feel free to stay in Shavasana if you'd like. You don't have to say goodbye to me. So if you needed a little longer to just rest, feel free to stay on your back. Otherwise, finding that little gentle rock of your head, a little wiggle in your fingers and your toes. You might even imagine that you just woke up from like the longest, most refreshing nap before taking one final stretch. And then just kind of roll yourself onto one of your sides. You can hug your knees up towards your chest so that you're resting in the fetal position, or you can rock and roll up to a seated position, but that's eventually where we're meeting with the eyes closed. So just kind of taking a moment to breathe up the sidelines of your body today. They are extremely useful parts of our anatomy that we don't pay attention to in a lot of physical traditions, so you might feel it a little bit tomorrow. But use the bandwidth that you have. Take a big breath in and feel the sides of your body expanding outward, expanding long ways. Rise up nice and tall. And then exhale out through your mouth. Bring the palms together and lift your thumb knuckles up to your third eye center and just take a moment to fold gently over your mat in an offering of your practice up to the benefit of all beings. Thank you guys so much. You did fantastic tonight. If you have questions, feel free to jump back on. I'm always happy to, geek out on yoga. If not, have a great weekend. You're so welcome. It was great seeing you.
Thank you. That was so much fun.
Oh, you're welcome, Jenny. I hope everybody has fun weekend plans. The weather's supposed to be spectacular.
Well, Melinda's working.
Woohoo! Nice job, Joe.
So,
Bye. Where do you work, Melinda?
So we're in Calvert County. I work at Running Hair Vineyard.
Oh,
They have
sweet.
like food and stuff, so I help make food.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
So gorgeous. It's like the prettiest drive into work ever.
What's the vineyard called again?
Running Hair.
Running Hair. I'll have to look it up. We love going to wineries.
Yeah, and they're doing events and stuff because I don't know how much of like bars or whatever are open, but they're doing a drive-in movie theater
What?
every night this weekend. Yeah. So they're gonna do like I guess the way that they're doing it is that they have like a radio station and they're just like playing it to the radio or something.
That is
I don't
really cool.
How it's working.
I
think it's brilliant.
It's
I think it's a
brilliant.
genius.
I
So
told my
they're-
husband recently that I feel like drive-in movies are going to make a comeback after this.
I've been saying drive-in movies and then places like the Sonics and stuff where it's all like in your car eating. I said even if it's like real food, like actual food,
Yeah.
it's gonna come back to have where everyone's got that little table that they hook onto the side of the window and just start eating.
I know. I feel like people, like a lot of the savvy business owners are going to start to try to figure out how they can shift their business models that way.
Well, it's
Smart.
funny because, like, Yankee Stadium put out that they're going to convert themselves to a giant drive-in movie